You're listening to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast, episode number 93. Today I speak with Kingdom Business and Life Coach at Called to Awaken Coaching and the host of the Kingdom Dreamcasers Podcast, Gail Root, on being addicted to busy. Welcome to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast, where we gain inspiration and motivation from others who share their touching stories of renewing hope and discovering purpose in any circumstance. I'm your host, Christina Reisinger, and today we will be encouraged by another tremendously inspirational topic that will embolden you to release fear, begin taking small steps forward, and move into your God-given purpose to live and serve in this life. Join me for today's story. Hey, Gail, how are you today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me on.
I am really excited to have you on Faith Breathed Hope. And the first thing I would love for you to do is tell the audience something very interesting about you, something that you love, or maybe not everybody knows.
Oh, wow. All right. So I always, this fun little thing, the little tidbit is that I was born with a tooth, which is just so random. And, but I have 3 sons. They're almost grown. So we're almost empty nesters, and we love to travel. So all of our boys went to Penn State. I live up in the northwest corner of Pennsylvania. But I grew up all over the South. So I'm really a Southern girl at heart, but have moved many, many, many times in my life.
Okay. Amazing. That's good. That's good. I like to travel too, although I don't get to travel too much. So can you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do before we get into our topic of being addicted to busy?
Yes. So I am a wife of 28 years, mother of 3 sons. We own a brick and mortar business. It's a wedding venue and tavern. It's actually a 125-year-old schoolhouse that we renovated. We purchased a number of years ago now and renovated. And that has been quite a journey, being in business with my husband. And but really, I grew up in the direct sales industry, and really, like, my father was in direct sales. And so I grew up watching my father champion women, really, who were at-home women. Women did not work. My dad's 89. So we're going way back, right? I'm 55. So we're going way back, watching my father as a young, very young girl. And then even into my teen years, watching him just champion women having at-home businesses, really, as they were juggling being the mom at home. And so that was at an early age, those seeds were planted in me. And then I went on in the industry to be that at-home mom with a thriving business. But then a few years ago, the Lord called me to retire from really almost 3 decades in direct sales and network marketing, so that I could coach women who want to build their business on kingdom values. So that's really where that's kind of just a fast track evolution of what I'm up to.
Yeah, that's a huge thing right now, is to try to decide whether, you're building a business because it is simply a transaction for money, or if it is a place that God is calling you to honor his kingdom. And so a lot of women, I think, get confused about that. They get this idea in their head that has to be one or the other. I can assume that we can get confused in the tasks that we take on in order to start that business or move through that business. And it can look just like busy work. And then we get frustrated and overwhelmed. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? And then we'll talk about what to do about it.
Absolutely. So I do working with my clients. I think one of the greatest joys they will tell you is that discovery that really, if you believe that you're a child of God, if you believe you're then a daughter of the King, and you really want to have God as the center of your life, well then, and you find yourself in an entrepreneurial environment, whether it's direct sales, network marketing, an Etsy store, whatever it is, then really, if we're daughters of the King, then clearly he's the one who's called us there. And so my clients really find a deep sense of peace and joy when they're like, oh my gosh, God really has called me here. And he has purpose for me here. He has plans for me here. This isn't some random little side hustle that I'm trying to do on the side. And so when you realize that God is really wanting to be a part of it, all about it, wants to guide you, wants to direct you in your business, everything starts to change because you start treating it in stewarding your time and walking through your business in a completely different way. You start carrying yourself differently. This whole experience is different. Your transactions are not transactional money for, you're actually serving, not selling. You're inviting, not recruiting. So just everything starts to change.
So when we get busy in that situation, we can get addicted to just doing tasks and then not move forward, right? We can say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to check this box off. I checked off X, Y, and Z today. Tomorrow I'll check off X, Y, and Z again. And we're not really moving forward. We're just kind of spinning our wheels like we're on a hamster wheel, so to speak. Do you understand, or can you tell the audience why you think that happens? Why do you think it's so easy to get caught up on the hamster wheel?
Yeah. So it's ironic because I literally not 24 hours a day ago did a podcast on this. So, but let me go back to the idea why. Why does this happen to us? Well, one, I think it's because it's comfortable. We like making lists and checking off boxes. It gives us a sense of satisfaction. It gives us a sense of, I'm actually accomplishing something. I'm actually doing something. So when we fall in bed at night, exhausted because of all of the boxes that we checked, we actually can have some sense of satisfaction that, I did it. Then when something new comes in that scares us, let's pretend that you've never gone live before. You have a business and you've never gone live before, and you're like, girl, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go live. I don't have time. And so it's really the enemy trying to prevent you from that productivity, from real growth and real traction in your business. He wants to keep you struggling on the struggle bus, exactly what you said, of the hamster wheel, that addicted to busy, when really, where's the fruit of that busyness? And so busy is like, I like checking boxes, but really when we pull back, we ask ourselves, is this really making a difference? Are these tasks really doing anything to move my business forward? Or am I just getting some kind of not healthy satisfaction out of my checkbox?
Is there a strategy that you would recommend to be able to rid yourself of these busy tasks and be able to identify the additional tasks that you need to bring in to take steps forward?
There is, and there's something really specific. But before I get there, because what I find, and I'm sure you find this too, but what I find is if we don't really know, I can give you some suggestions, and you might write them down, and you might be like, "Oh, I'm going to try this." But the truth is, if we really don't back up a little bit and understand why we actually need to implement those changes, then the chances are that we're really going to do something about it and make it a lasting change aren't really high. So I literally had the Holy Spirit convict me about 4.5 years ago. I literally heard him tell me, Gail, you are creating self-induced anxiety. At the time, I was taking anxiety medication because I was trying to do all the things. I had 3 little boys. I had a thriving business. Our team was doing $1 million in sales. I was coaching all these women, all these things, balls in the air. And I was like a crazy woman and trying to be the wife and the mother and the leader and all the things. So I clearly needed some help, right? So I went to my doctor and she's like, take this. Well, 10 years later, I'm still taking this medication, which is now causing side effects, which has now been amped up. And quite honestly, I still had anxiety. Mm-hmm. So I had a little medical issue really for the first time. So all of it was like the perfect storm. And it was really God trying to shake me and get my attention. So I literally I kind of cried out. I was frustrated. I was scared. And I kind of cried out. And I literally heard the Holy Spirit say, you are creating self-induced anxiety. And at that moment, I didn't understand prior to that it was my actions, I was always blaming everything outside of me, causing me stress. It wasn't until that moment that I started to see that it was my choices and what I was doing and the way I was responding to things that actually is what was causing me stress. So, and part of that was I was addicted to busy. I was just in this place of being addicted to check, 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 check. And so I really asked the Holy Spirit, come help me, please. And a subject for another day gave me a morning practice, basically, where I get to just go sit with the Lord, be very intentional. And that really started to change things. But back to your question about what do we do? So there's a phrase. Have you ever heard the phrase, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar?
No, but that's interesting.
Isn't that so cool? So I wish I could credit the person who said it. I have no idea. But so the deal is, if you imagine yourself inside a jar, and the label's clearly on the outside of the jar, how are you supposed to read the label, right? You can't. So what I like in this too is when we're working in our business, which is all of these busy tasks, right? And some of them we have to do. It's kind of like, as wives and mothers, we need to do laundry, right? We need to do the dishes, right? We need to, if there's going to be a problem if we don't go to the grocery store. So there are tasks that are busy tasks that we need to do, but that's working in the business. So I'm inside the jar, completing a task. It might be a social media post, going live. It might be reaching out to a customer. I'm inside the jar working on a task. So what we need to do is at least spend one time a week getting outside of the jar, where we're now working on the business. We're looking, we've pulled ourselves back. We're reading the label. We're reading the label. The label is telling us what is going on. The label is taking temperature. The label is going, what tasks are actually moving the needle? What tasks are not moving the needle? Where do I need to make some changes? So there are 3 questions that I love. This for me, when I do this activity, I ask myself, okay, Gail, what's going really well? Because gratitude is so powerful. And there are times when the enemy wants to tell you, girl, nothing's going well. And also there's times in my life and in my business where God really helps me with things powerfully, but I just move on to the next thing. I don't pause. I don't thank him. I don't let myself feel that gratitude and just let yourself soak in it, marinate in it for a moment. Feel the gratitude of what God did, how he helped you in your business. And so take inventory of that. Ask, where are the amazing things that are happening? Because they're there and there's a lot of them. Then the second thing is, but okay, now that I've done that, I'm kind of prepared myself. Now, where are the things not working well? Be really honest with ourselves. This is where we ask God, shine that light, bring truth. Help me pull my head out of the sand, help me to really be honest about the things that are not working. Because God does not want us to keep doing the things over and over again, right? And expecting a different result. So that's that second question. And then the last question is, now, what am I willing to do about it? May I commit to 1 to 2 actions, just 1 to 2. And they could be small. They do not have to be big. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to make them small, because that means you're much more likely to actually do them. So what are a couple actions that I am willing to take to get one of these things that have not been working well? And sometimes I just have to, God help me. Where's a creative solution? Where's a resource? Where's a phone call I can make to someone who can support me or help me in this? And that's all. Just do that. So sorry for the long answer, but that's,
yeah. That's actually great. So, I'm thinking, when you're talking about doing things inside the jar, I just want to kind of recap on this. So we're inside the jar and we're doing the things that we absolutely have to do, the things that we know we can't get away from, like cooking, washing the dishes,
Yes.
laundry, because we have to wear clothes and we have to have food and we have to feed our family, even the grocery shopping. So the outside of the jar things, if I'm getting you correctly, you're wanting to look at maybe one new thing a week that we can do beyond the things that we absolutely have to do. Is that correct?
It is, but I'm so glad you brought up this example because we all have this. So it makes it so relevant. So an outside of the jar activity in this example would be, where could I be doing crock pots? Where could I be meal prepping that I'm not?
Okay.
Where could I be coming up with recipes? I know some women who come up with recipes for the month,
Okay.
and then they take that shopping list for the week and they go buy the recipes for that week. I know some women who, when they get outside the jar looking at this situation, they're like, okay, clearly this laundry thing is freaking me out. I'm always stressed about it. I'm always annoyed about it. So I'm doing laundry on Mondays and Fridays. Period. End of story. I'm not letting this plague my life every single day anymore. So that's like an outside of the jar looking in, like, what can I do about this? Another example would be, with meal prepping. Let's say I know one woman who has, she calls it week A and week B. Week A, she has a 13-year-old in her house. Week B, she has a 17-year-old in her house. So things are different. So in week A, she says, okay, it's Taco Tuesdays, it's Pizza Fridays, it's it's you're helping mom cook on, it's crock pot
Yeah.
Wednesdays. And so once she implemented this, she said the amount of stress that left my life when I implemented this. And then like the 13-year-old got excited. Mom, let's do this for Taco Tuesday. Or Mom, can we order pizza from this place on Pizza Friday? So it ended up she got outside of the jar, looked at everything and said, okay, what is this something I can do to make this situation less stressful, more productive, and everybody was happier.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. It brings structure to all the chaos where you can say, hey, this is the formula and we're going to try to work on it this way. I also like that you said that you don't have to do anything really big. You can just take small steps. This is something that occurred to me several years ago, when, some things happened in our life, and they were just things that I was really stressed out about. My daughter was very sick, and I told even the medical team that she had at the time, I said, we're going to take small steps. So anyways, I can say I'm a woman that's really busy and I have to cook. So I can implement using a crock pot in meal planning. However, how does this work in business? How does this work when, somebody says, okay, I need to start up my business. I need to make an extra 5,000K this month, and I am scrambling to figure out how to do this. How does that look?
So great question. So what happens is when you're inside the jar and you are trying to complete tasks, and they very well may be tasks that are important to your business, but it's not until you get outside of the jar where you do activities like reverse engineering. It's like, okay, now this is so you're scheduling time. I call it the deep work, or some people just call it, like a CEO meeting with God or strategy time, but you schedule time. It's purposeful. It's intentional. It's an hour, probably at least, where you're looking at that 5K goal and you're saying, okay, I need this 5K this month. So how do I reverse engineer it? What are the most likely activities that are actually going to bring me 5K? Because what happens is, in our stress and our anxiety about trying to produce that 5K, we jump in the jar and we get busy, busy, busy. But if we don't get out of the jar and say, okay, wait a minute, pause, breathe. Where's the strategy? Where's the wisdom? What is the most likely way that I'm going to hit that 5K? Then you get very purposeful about creating a list of the activities that are going to bring you to that 5K. Then when you get back in the jar, now you're working from a place of flow. And I like saying you're working from a place of rest. And what that means is you're working from a place of trust that you've worked with God on this, you created your plan, and now you really are trusting that the activities that you're actually doing when you're in the jar are going to bear the fruit. Instead of being in that place of like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if, and then you're just exhausted in bed every night. So you still have to do the tasks, but you've taken the time to pull back and say, okay, but what's most important here?
I can imagine that, somebody is going through this right now, that they said, okay, I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to step outside my jar and I'm going to reverse engineer this thing that I want, this extra 5K or this business startup, whatever it is. And I'm going to figure out what tasks I have to do. And I'm going to make a list and I'm going to have the structure. And then when they go back inside the jar, you said there's flow. What happens when they go back inside the jar and I don't know, is it called the glass ceiling? It's like when they hit this place of fear where, it's easier to go back and do all the busy work and stay in a comfortable space versus really do that task, because they start thinking, what happens if I start this task and I tell the world and nobody listens? I've put myself out there, I'm vulnerable. And now not only have I been vulnerable, but I may have even lost some financial, investment to that. Yes. So what do you tell those women?
So good. All right. So, very important part of being outside of the jar. When you set that goal of 5K, it's so much more important to understand why. What will the 5K bring me? How beneficial will it be to my family? Why do I want it? And really do the deep work on this, because you're exactly right. So when you get back inside that jar, obstacles are going to come. Fear is going to come. Discouragement's going to come. Someone's going to tell you, what the heck are you thinking? So if you're not crystal clear on why you're doing it and you don't feel that God's really calling you to it, when those discouraging things come, you're going to revert back to old patterns, old fears, and just say, chuck it, forget it. But if you've done that deep work outside the jar and you said, okay, where are my most likely obstacles going to come from in this? How will I respond to those obstacles? Who can help me? Where's an accountability partner? Or where is a coach or a mentor? Where's a prayer partner? Where's someone who can come alongside me that I can share these goals with? I can share where my most likely obstacles are going to come from. And I've already made a plan. So when I'm in the jar and those obstacles come, that discouraging thing comes, I am not going to cave. I'm going to deal with that discouragement. I'm going to deal with that fear, but I'm going to rise up above it and say, no, I believe that God has called me to this. I believe this is what I'm doing. I am not giving up. I am persevering. It's only week 1 of my 4-month plan, 4-week plan, and I'm already throwing the towel. If I could tell you the amount of people that actually don't hit that goal until day 29, but they want to give up on day 5 and say, chuck it. What was I thinking? And sometimes they want to give up on day 17 and day 24, but it's in that perseverance that, just the amazing thing's going to happen. Just don't give up before it happens.
Isn't life all about perseverance? I love the fact that you even mentioned a prayer partner, because I think that it's so, so important to have somebody that you trust to come alongside you and just someone you can be vulnerable with. And so many people, I think, feel like they're a burden. So it's hard to find somebody that you can put that on or trust. But we know that we can also put it all on God. He's willing to take it all.
Yes.
Yes. So, Gail, will you tell the audience, all the women and I guess men out there, if they're listening, that, give them a little bit of encouragement for putting down that busy work, finding a area in their life to walk into those small steps and leave the busy behind, not clinging to it for their comfort and their support, but being able to step outside of that jar, do the hard work, and then let things flow.
Absolutely. Well, one, and I love, the deep work. That's why I think I like the deep work versus the hard work, because the hard work makes us feel like it's heavy. It's going to be difficult. Actually, it will be uncomfortable at first because it might be as a new thing that you're doing, but I promise you, you will grow to love that time with the Lord, that strategy time, that looking at things from a higher bird's eye view. And because you will get greater clarity there, you'll get greater wisdom. And then when you take that wisdom and clarity that you got back inside the jar and you become more effective, then you become you can't wait for that outside the jar moments. Now, the encouraging things are 2 things. One is set a timer. And Zechariah 4:10. So the timer comes in when let's say you've got a big task in front of you and it just feels so overwhelming. Let's say it's your closet. I know this is just a silly example, but for a lot of us, it's real. So let's just say it's been an overwhelming season, and every time you go in your closet, all you can barely do is just throw stuff on a bench or a shelf or whatever in there. And it's just a hot mess, right? But it's stressing you out. It's creating a burden every single day. And so just set a timer for 15 minutes. And this is just this one example. You can use this in any area of your life, any part of your business or life. Set the timer for 15 minutes and just go in there and say, you know what? I can do this for 15 minutes. I can deal with this overwhelming thing for 15 minutes. Just turn on the timer and walk away. A couple things happen. One, you feel amazing that you got started. Two, you often want to keep going because there's like this energy that like, woo, woo, And the third thing that is like miraculous is God almost like bends time, because what you thought was going to take you 2 hours, suddenly in like 20 minutes, you're done. You're like, how did that happen? How did I even do that in 20 minutes? But we make something so big up in our head, right? So, and then Zechariah 4:10, do not despise the small beginnings, because the Lord delights. That just makes me so happy. The Lord delights in our small beginnings. He delights because what we're doing is saying, Lord, I am taking a step of faith here. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I'm willing to step into this anyway. I'm willing to move forward anyway. I'm willing to try something new anyway. So the Lord delights in that step of faith, and he just will always bless. So do not despise the small beginnings.
No, I love that. That's just beautiful. Now I want to go back to the setting the timer. I don't know if you're familiar, but Priscilla Schreier has written a book called The Resolution for Women, and my friends and I have been going through that Bible study. And in that book, she talks about 14, but she says 14 inches, 14 minutes, that kind of thing. If you're looking at doing a task, take 14 minutes for it. If you need to clean off a shelf, clean off 14 inches of it. You don't have to clean off the whole shelf. And so I think that's a great way to look at things. And in fact, we deal with that too, because my oldest son, who is actually only 11, but he's struggling with cleaning his own room. So it's just this daunting, anxiety-ridden task. So if maybe I go in and tell him he has 15 minutes, I don't know, it might backfire on me. He might get anxious, but we're going to try that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and even if I might suggest, ask him how many minutes, if we set a timer, what's his name? Eli, Mom's got an idea. I tried this. I'm going to do this. I have something stressing me out. So I'm going to set my timer for this. What about for your room? How many minutes? If we set the timer for you, you get to choose how many minutes. You turn it on and you just work in your room only for those many minutes. And when it goes off, you can be done. What do you think? And so then it's like his idea. So he feels a little bit more in, so it might work. I have 3 boys. I can relate.
It works for things like reading, so I haven't really tried it for the room. So that's a good idea. I love it. So Gail, can you tell everybody where they can find you, please?
Yes. So I think the easiest probably spot, since we're on a podcast, is a podcast. So my podcast is Kingdom Dreamchasers. And, it's Google, Apple, Anchor, all the different places, but it's primarily for women. It is for women in business, primarily women who have a direct sales or network marketing business, just because that's been my life's journey. But certainly, there's a lot of life hacks and business hacks and mom hacks, because I'm a mom. So I think a lot of people in your audience might get a good chunk of blessing out of it.
Yeah. So Kingdom Dream Chasers, and it's on iTunes and all the places.
It is.
Okay. And so if you're listening right now, you can go listen to Kingdom Dream Chasers with Gail, and you can follow that. And I should be on there pretty soon as well. And so you can listen to that episode. And if you are so inclined and so generous, we would love for you to leave a review on both of our shows. Thank you. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful being here.
For you guys, continue to be blessed and bless others, and we'll see you next time. So now getting a subscription box is all the rage. I don't know anyone who doesn't love to receive fun mail. With so many out there, it can be so difficult to know which ones to choose. Maybe think about Artsa. Artsa is a company that has a subscription box that takes you on a journey through the Holy Land. Each quarter, they feature a different city in Israel and tell its story, past and present, while they source amazing items that you cannot find anywhere else from 7 to 8 local artisans. It's a mix of food, gifts, and amazing content that delivers the Holy Land to your doorstep, all while supporting the small businesses and people who call the Holy Land home. Grab the code in the comments to get 25% off of your Artsa box. It's Artsa Christina Reisinger, ArtzaChristina Everyone moves through ups and downs in life. Knowing that your Heavenly Father is your stronghold and not the circumstance you face can give you the hope to persevere and begin living in your God-given purpose. I'm so glad that you're here listening today and want to invite you to join me in pursuing the Lord in all aspects of your life. Continue listening as we release the wait list for something special that we have been developing behind the scenes. And I want to thank you for joining us on Faith Breathed Hope, where you gain inspiration and motivation to renew hope and discover purpose in any circumstance. Please like and share this podcast and give us a review on iTunes. Be blessed.